You're listening to the podcast Back to the Real, and I'm your host, Marcus Taylor. Welcome to the podcast Back to the Real, the podcast that discusses how movies have an impact on us, but also influences us. Today's guest is my friend Dejan Blazevski, and he's here today to talk about rom-coms. Okay, ready. Hey, Dejan. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Marcus. Thank you for having me.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Where do I start? First of all, I would just want to say thank you for having me. Thank you for having this podcast. Honestly, I think it's really brave of you.
Thanks.
I
Thank
really
you so
do.
much.
I think today, in today's society, I think it's just in general more brave than when people started doing podcasts to actually start a podcast again. Because I just think, it's you're putting yourself out there and keep being there every episode. So I think it's thank you for doing this.
So kind of you.
Yeah,
Thank you so
but
much.
also like this is something we do in our normal life.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a bit like we're doing the same thing. It's just in a different environment.
Exactly. Now it's being recorded.
Yeah, I know.
But we go back way back.
Yeah. How long has it been now?
35 years.
35 years. We're
One of my oldest friends. Yeah.
He's
a brother from another mother.
Yeah. Quite a different one in a physical aspect, but thank you for having me. Quickly about myself. I'm a former aspiring filmmaker.
Yeah.
Used to study filmmaking for like 5 years, I think, and I've been active within the film making industry for maybe 12 years, 13 years in total.
We actually worked together on several projects as well.
Yeah, we have worked together on several projects, and I think the first one I ever was in around 2002.
Yeah.
Sausage shit, sad meat, if you would translate it to English. Then when I decided, I think I was like 17 or 18 when I decided that I want to work within filmmaking, and I didn't know how.
Yeah.
Where do I start? What do I do? Like everyone else, and you had a lot of film schools. Back then, I did not understand or know that film schools are a form of industry in itself. You know?
Yeah.
They make money, and if you can, I did 1 year in Denmark at the European Film College, which is a 1 year foundation course they have in 2003 to 2004 in Abeltoft, an international school where people study and try out all the filmmaking aspects. So everything from directing, acting, editing, sound design, all of it. After that, I went back to Sweden. And then I decided I want to continue with filmmaking. So I did my Bachelor of Fine Arts in Paris. With focus on directing. Although I did more other stuff.
Yeah, but it's quite common that you try different
than actually directing. Also did a lot of writing. And then I came back to Sweden again after my 3 years, and I did a 1 year documentary course in Sweden in Skurup, which also has a film program there.
Exactly.
And then I kind of started gradually moving away from filmmaking.
Okay.
And that's kind of like my filmmaking background at least.
Yeah, but I remember when we were playing as children, we watched movies already back then together, and it feels like that's always been the common dynamic between you and me, that you've always been a huge cinephile as well, that you always enjoyed watching.
Thank you. Yeah.
So.
But I think it's also how we reconnected. Yeah. Because we were good friends as kids, but then we kind of drifted apart. Yeah. You're also like, back then it mattered. You know how it is, like 1 year younger, 1 year older. It was like, oh, he's he's a baby and I'm a grown up, Although you were 10 times bigger than me already then, But we reconnected like when we were between 18 and 20, I think.
Yes, exactly.
And that was films. That was movies and films. That's how we reconnected.
And you actually are responsible for introducing me to my all-time favorite director, Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
So you're responsible.
You keep saying that.
But you are responsible. I remember that was in 2001, I think, or it was 2000.
The release of Memento, which blew my mind.
Yeah.
Like it was.
So you hooked me. So you've played a part in my movie knowledge, or say my interest in movies and finding new. So yes. Oh. So we have a special connection.
Yeah, we do.
But cool, Dejan. So now being a guest on the pod,
it is a bit weird talking English.
I understand, but you're doing well. You're doing so well.
Thank you. But we normally speak Swedish,
But this is something you're going to like. Since you're a guest on the pod, the guest decides what they want to talk about. So my question to you is, what would you like to talk about today?
Romcoms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Romance, comedy, all the best things in life. So rom-coms in general, or is it?
Well, I think rom-coms, there's something different and unique about them as a genre compared to other genres in films.
Yeah.
And what I've found out about rom-coms is that there's a rom-com in every movie out there, more or less. Like, you don't find slasher horror film genre in every movie out there, or sci-fi in every movie out there, but you can find romance and with a hint and twist of comedy in it, which makes it a rom-com in every movie out there.
Exactly.
It's a genre that kind of it's just whoop, and then you have the actual specific rom-coms that are dedicated to that, and I find that quite unique. And also, as you know, they say art imitates life. Yeah. I think when it comes to rom-coms, life imitates art more than the other genres.
Interesting.
And I also think there was because I mean, filmmaking the first films when they started, this art imitated life. Like even the very first screening of a movie with the train heading towards the audience, and the audience screamed and panicked and left the cinema.
Exactly.
At some point, there was a shift. And I think rom-coms is the one where it started shifting more and more, and people started imitating art.
You're right. That's a very interesting perspective, actually. I think this could be very interesting to discuss. But my direct question to you would be: rom-coms, good or bad?
Oh, I love rom-coms.
You love rom-coms,
obviously. I think it's a guilty pleasure for everyone out there.
Yeah, I agree. I'm the same there. I confess, I watch rom-coms as well. Yeah. Of all ages, of all decades, basically. Yeah. And especially interesting to see how they have evolved as well.
Very true, very true. Because they also reflect, in a way, our relationship to each other. Like, romance and love, and how that has changed through the years. Yeah. So I'm like you, a kid from the 80s and 90s, born in the early 80s. Yeah. But, the 90s movies are maybe, I would say late 80s and early to the mid 90s are quite a big part of our lives.
Absolutely.
Growing up. Yeah. And for me, the first rom-coms I remember that made a big impression on me were the Patrck Dempsey ones.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So Can't Buy Me Love.
Yeah. Good one.
I think it was like a trilogy of rom-coms with him, like Can't Buy Me Love, In the Mood, Not in the Mood for Love.
No, that's a completely different movie.
Yeah. Wonder why. And then Loverboy.
Yeah.
But Can't Buy Me Love and Loverboy, those two, they kind of like stuck, and just I don't know. I think they kind of shaped me in a way.
Okay.
In some strange way.
Interesting. You care to elaborate? What do you think about, for example, Can't Buy Me Love? That's one of my favorites.
You know what the original title was supposed to be?
Tell me.
Boy Rents Girl.
Ooh.
I mean,
I'm getting other images in my mind at the moment. But boy needs girl, boy rents girl.
Yeah. And also, apparently, I tried to it's been a while since I watched these movies. I was a bit like, okay, what was about them and everything. Yeah. But Can't Buy Me Love, it's also a Beatles song, and they used the song in the movie.
Exactly.
Apparently, they had to screen the movie to Michael Jackson because he owned the rights. And he
see.
liked it so much, so he let them use it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was new to me. That was nice trivia. So.
But I cheated a bit because I just before.
What?
I was like, oh, that's good trivia. Can't Buy Me Love and Loverboy. Loverboy especially. I don't know, it was weird. Back then, kind of like the whole Casanova thing. It was the old way of still thinking that it's okay, men can sleep around, but women can't. And that's that era, that period, very, very evident in the 80s and how men can be and should be. And it's completely okay. It's fine. We can be forgiven. That's very much, I feel like, a part of that movie, Loverboy. Yeah. Where Patrck Dempsey is this kind of punk kid, punk rocker kid, has a girlfriend, keeps disappointing her, doesn't even want to introduce her to his dad. Yeah. And they broke up, and he loses, I guess he doesn't get to go to school anymore, so he gets a daytime job as a pizza guy. And starts hooking up with these older women, and becomes this Casanova, and just the lover boy, a gigolo, literally. And then he kind of wins back the love of his life from the experience of all these other women.
He gained all that knowledge from all the older women.
I just find it so it's so weird. It's so strange. But rom-coms in general, I think they affected us in our love lives more than we like to admit. Yeah.
I was actually thinking about it as well, growing up, especially during the 90s. I remember some of the rom-coms that were on there. And one that's I still remember as being a movie that I enjoyed watching. It was more, set in high school, if you remember She's All That.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen it, but I just,
Yeah, and it's a very cozy movie. I mean, I still can enjoy it when I see clips of it, especially lots of memories from that time. But then I was just thinking what it represented at the time, because there's the high school guys having a bet that they can hook up with any girl, basically, and then they choose the first best girl, and she's
like the geeky girl.
She's a geeky girl, and it has at the time the attributes of a geeky girl: braces, glasses, and special clothing wear. Exactly.
But isn't She's All That like just the opposite, or not the opposite, but the same, except that now it's a geeky girl, but Can't Buy Me Love. Patrck Dempsey is the geeky boy, wants to become popular, right?
There's a switch there, but then at the same time, then she undergoes changes during the movie, so she will become more attractive, if I say in quotation. And then suddenly it feels like, now looking at it with fresh eyes, thinking like, okay, so she has to change her appearance in order for people to find her attractive. If you know what I mean. So, of course, this maybe the cliche, it's all in the inside. It's not. Yeah, I understand that as well. But then it became very obvious at the time that maybe that's the way high school students, especially high school people or younger people, had the idea about that's the perfect girl, that you have to have both the inside and the outside. Yeah. And I find it very interesting and evident in that movie. And that, like you said, with Can't Buy Me Love, that's the opposite when him being... the guy, and then suddenly when he gets the girl who makes him more popular, and then he suddenly his appearance starts to change. He becomes more so then suddenly everybody likes him, and he's how that reflects our view of being interesting. Yeah, how you appear to people. But
I think it's also about expectations. I think how rom-com have affected us in a way is that I think there's a generation that have been raised by parents who didn't teach them anything about love.
True.
Relationships.
Yeah.
Sex. Yeah, all of that. That is kind of combined to love, and being in a relationship with each other. And I'm one of those. Like love my parents. They raised me well, but
that they did.
But there are aspects where I'm like I have gaps where like, why wasn't I taught these things that are quite important, that take a big part of your life? And what do we get? Where do we get it from? Yeah. And there were movies. Like, I'm raised by films and movies almost as much as like my parents sometimes, because there are gaps. and you look for those gaps. How do I fill them up? And those are the movies that would represent that, like rom-coms.
Absolutely.
So I think it's kind of natural, and I think we watch them and we think that's the love we want, we urge, we look for, we search.
Yeah.
But the reality isn't the same.
No, it basically became a bit of, if you can say it, our reality. Basically, that's the way it was supposed to be.
In order for it to seem right.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. I remember one of my guests earlier when we talked about zeitgeist, talked about especially this a bit of a utopian view that this is the way it should be.
Yeah.
And I think that's very you can apply it especially to rom-coms, and at least certain rom-coms, especially when it revolves around people that are roughly at the same age as you. I remember when we talked now about She's All That, being a teenager, thinking like, oh, so this is how it's supposed to be. But it also was interesting how men were represented at like younger men. That it was the popular football guys that were
the jocks, right?
They were the good guys. They were the best of the best, basically,
And you had the nerds, the geeks, the jocks, the popular girls, and
So it's very interesting in that way, especially with the examples you give. But yeah, definitely rom-coms in general. I mean, there's those that are so funny, but they take it on a completely different aspect. Because I would say She's All That. Yeah, of course, it's a bit of comedy, but also has a bit of drama. But then, like we talked about before, then there's the ones that go the complete comedy direction.
Oh this is like slapstick toilet humor comedy rom-coms.
Exactly, they just take it to the next level.
They do, and I love it. I mean, the great example, the Farrelly brothers and their comedies. Even like I would say Dumb and Dumber, even that has like it's basically a rom-com almost, because I mean the whole road trip, the whole like trajectory is towards this woman with the suitcase, and it's insane, you know. And Kingpin, God, Kingpin. Talking about like movies that affect you and that kind of you imitate. Yeah. Like it's a bowling movie and a road, like a road trip movie. Yeah. And what's his name? Bill Murray as Ernie McCracken. Yeah. The way he bowls. Yeah. I started imitating that. I started like try to bowl like him as a kid because I thought it looked so funny and cool that I just
I did not.
I still do it today. Like I went bowling with my with my job and we went bowling and people were like, what the hell are you doing? Like I did all these weird moves. Like it's like.
Do they play Disco Inferno every time you enter the bowling?
I wish they did. It's like, well, I suck at bowling, but they're like you look like the best bowler when you bowl. You're just not that good at it. I'm like, I know.
But that's fun when you say it that way, especially when you have characters that become so characteristic. You embrace some of their characteristics as well.
That's crazy. And I have to say, like, one of my all-time favorite rom-coms and comedies, or maybe even movies in general, is There's Something About Mary.
Yeah, but that's a good one. That's also one of my all-time favorites. If I'm really down and just want to have a good pickup, I mean, that's one of the movies that I always can watch, and it always makes me happy because it's so absurdly funny.
That's the thing; it's absurd in so many ways.
I don't know if it could be made today with today's standards.
Well, not as good or as well. I think it wouldn't be the same because I think that's the thing the Farrelly brothers did they were so good at. They took really absurd scenes and moments, and you kind of like. You believe it, but yet you go like, that's not possible. It's just not. That's not real. But like for the scene where Ben Stiller is being the whole scene actually the flyer getting stuck the zipper that's based on an actual incident, and then the part where he's on the what do you call it the stroller or the hospital bed thing going into the ambulance. That's improvised. So when he drops and hits himself like that, it's like that's all improvised, and they just kept it. And it's just so many good scenes, and the hair and with the Cameron Diaz, Matt Dillon and Cameron Diaz were actually dating back then. I think
it's so fun. It's so fun.
It's a lot of it's just great film, great love story. But I think personally, I would say rom-coms that have affected me more than I would like to admit. And I think the way I behave towards women is very much consequence of what I used to watch as a kid, what love's supposed to be,
exactly.
and how you fall in love, and how you treat women, and how you behave and try to engage.
You're expected to be in a certain way and have to behave in a certain way as well. I, for example, think like the idea of more older romantic comedies, if you look even further back, like the 70s, 80s, for example, or even 60s for that matter, that the guy was always to be the gentleman,
very much.
How they would behave, how the ethics about how you're supposed to be next to a woman or partner. I would say that that's something that affected me. To me, it was just common courtessy. That if you meet somebody you like or something, that, for example, just hold the door for them when you enter a building, or you just ask them how you are, and how you're doing, and stuff like. Just to me, okay, so this is how I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. This is who I'm supposed to be. Yeah, very true.
But now in today's society, when you're just being nice to someone, it feels like, are you flirting?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's. But I was really shy when it came to girls that I liked back then.
Oh, me too.
Yeah,
big time.
Super shy.
Big time.
That's why I think watching those films, seeing these really awkward, weird things that men would do in order to have a person fall in love with them, I thought that was the way you should do it. So, but it doesn't work in real life the same way,
No.
People could get scared. It'd be like, oh, that's weird. Creep, weirdo, like, but for me it was like, whoa, but I thought it was funny. I thought it was quirky, but not necessarily always the case. And now it sounds like I'm this weird guy who's talking about
absolutely not.
No, but I
find it
the
very
the connection between how I did not know how to like what's normal and what's not. Like for me, that seemed normal, and for others, it maybe wasn't.
But that's what fascinates me about it, because it feels like if it had like an educational purpose.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like you said, if this is the way we should be.
Yeah.
So this is like the best possible version of how a guy can be, how a woman can be, for example. And for me, that could be sometimes confusing.
And I think we latch onto those moments. We make them more important than they actually are, because like I still remember that one moment. I think you're actually with me then. Muriskan.
Yeah.
They had a quiz, right?
Yeah.
And I remember that it's just, I don't know, a lot, like many years ago.
Yeah.
We're at the quiz, and this one girl who like kept having eye contact with me the whole evening, and I kept like glancing over. I was like, okay, I mean, it's gotta mean, you remember, right? And I was like, it has to mean something, And then I was so nervous, and at some point the quiz ended. We went outside. I was smoking back then, so I went out for a cigarette. She goes out with a friend, and I thought, oh, they're gonna be probably smoking as well, having a break, and can have a chat and all that. But no, they're leaving, and I'm like, oh shit, they're leaving, and I'm just standing here, and it's snowing outside. And I'm like, this is the moment, and that moment I still remember because it took so much to have the guts to go up. So I started running after her. Like she'd been walking for a while. And I was just gathering, come on, you can do it. You have to. You might never see her again, And those are what I call the movie moments in real life.
Yeah.
And I ran after her, and I came up behind them. It was like, oh, hi, like super awkward. And they're like, who the fuck are you? And I'm like, and I asked her out. And it worked. I mean, we went on a date, but I remember that moment so clearly and vividly because I think that was my rom-com moment.
Yeah.
And it means more than almost any other moment.
Yeah.
And nothing like ended like it ended, It was nothing happened really after. Like we didn't really went on a date, and that was it. But
you did it.
Yeah, I did it. And but I don't get it. Why is that so? Why does that still stay there? Like it's still there. Like.
But I think you already mentioned it. You already had the answer there, because it feels like since we're both cinephiles and we enjoy watching movies, it feels like we had like an idea of how our lives would be if it was a romantic comedy or if a romantic, like this would be like a fitting scene for you for if it were
this
a movie.
Is the moment.
This is the moment.
She's the one.
She's the one. Take it.
Yeah.
No, it's now or never. But basically that and how it can affect you in that way with the mindset that okay, I'm going for this.
It's like a drug. But it's also like I love how people still have that, you know, in a lot of these romantic comedies where you have the moment in the end when you think they're gonna, oh man, please get back together again, and she's walking away or he's walking away, and the other person who's like, please take me back, you know, and you have that moment of like, John, wait, I love you, you know, and it's like, yes, that never happens in real life. That never happens because why? We're proud. People have more pride in them than the characters in the movies. And I don't think it's, but we live in that world where we hope and still want it to happen. It just never does.
But I think but I just think, no, you're right. But I just think it's funny in that way because how we think about our lives, especially when it comes to dating or meeting people, that how maybe consciously or unconsciously you have the idea of this idea of what love is supposed to be like from. Like when we talked about romantic comedies, how it's supposed to happen, how it's supposed to fall out. No, basically, which I find sometimes very interesting still today. Yeah, thinking about it. I remember just recently. I'm very fond of the director and writer duo David Wayne and Michael Showalter. They did, they did recently. They're most famous for Wet Hot American Summer. That was on Netflix. As well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's why.
But we remember I showed you the movie They Came Together.
Oh yeah. Well, not the whole. We saw like the first third of the movie.
Exactly,
right?
just to give you brainstorming before the.
I gotta watch the whole thing though.
But that's an interesting thing because that movie takes all of everything you can imagine about romantic comedies and putting them all into one movie and also making a spoof.
Yeah, that's a total spoof, that movie. Yeah. It's like the Hot Shots of rom-coms.
Exactly, and I find it so fun. I find it so hilarious. And how they put it, especially Paul Rudd.
Yeah, I know.
Comedic genius.
I thought about one thing as well. Sorry that I'm interrupting.
No worries.
Have you noticed as well with rom-coms, also kind of different than maybe other genres, that you have this era of actors doing rom-coms?
Yes.
You got the Patrck Dempsey era.
Yes.
Or maybe a short one, but still not. He's back in, what do you call it, Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah. I think he's killed off. But
Oh, I haven't even watched it, so it's fine. But he's still, what a handsome man.
He's a very handsome man.
Guy.
He's like a wine. So.
Yeah.
He just ages very well.
Well, you have Ben Stiller as well, of course. Owen Wilson.
Yes.
But you have these eras of actors doing rom-coms. Julia Roberts.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah. Hugh Grant.
Yeah. Oh, Hugh Grant.
You know, like it's quite interesting. Like it's there is not. I don't think there are that many other genres that have eras of actors doing rom-coms in the same way. I find that also interesting. What is it? Like, what is it that makes that happen, that these people choose to, like, I'm going to do some rom-coms now? Why not? Yeah.
It would be very interesting to see, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger's shift sides.
Well, he had a comedy era, right?
He did, but not a romantic comedy.
I would love that. That would be so awesome. Please. Oh, please, Arnold. If you listen to this, please, rom-coms.
Do it.
In your late, what is it, 60s or 70s now?
Yeah, he's in the 70s, but I would watch it definitely.
Actually, it needs to be like, you should date. I think you should date women at his age. Yeah. That would be cool.
That would be cool.
That'd be super cool.
But speaking of like romantic comedies that we've grown up with or that we have funny memories from, but looking at today's society, looking at today's movies.
Yeah.
Would you say, like, have you watched a newer romantic comedy recently?
I mean, there's a shift, of course, 80s, 90s, and then the millennium. I mean, also there's actually quite an interesting rom-com era of the Gen X.
Yeah.
And I would like to mention, actually, because I love this film so much, called Singles.
Oh,
yeah, it's by Cameron Crowe in the Seattle scene. When grunge was coming up. I know it's the early 90s, but it's a different one, and I think it's very like a lot of people haven't seen it, and it's not a classic rom-com. It's more of a like Reality Bites. That's also one with right
Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke, Ben Stiller, right? Winona Ryder.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
I gotta rewatch that one.
It's
There's
a good one.
many, So you have that era as well, right?
Yeah.
With the kind of cool Gen X type of rom-coms, and then I don't know. Like for me there is that one movie that kind of reflects very much. Well, it's starting to age as well. I see when I look at it now, but it's 500 Days of Summer.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Then when it came out, it was really like, wow, it really touched a lot of boys' hearts.
Oh yes, myself included. I absolutely agree. But there was something about that movie. It's a bit tricky because I think it affects us in different ways.
Yeah.
The way but I think you and I had a very similar experience that we could find similarities with that movie, especially the two characters.
Yeah, I think we've both been there in that type of situation,
Yes.
having that kind of crush or infatuation.
Yes, and then
that
how,
type of person.
Exactly, and how it unfolds.
Yeah.
And especially all of the good things that came with it, but also the bad things.
Yeah.
So it showed both sides, I would say, even more.
And how we tend to under the carpet,
Yes.
We got some red flags. That's fine.
That's fine. Everything is going to work out.
It's okay.
No, but you're absolutely right. That's a very good example, actually, because I think that's. I'm not trying to exaggerate now, but I think that was the last romantic comedy I saw in later years that I actually found was really, really good. But I haven't seen that many afterwards that I thought like, okay, this is a really good movie. But it's a personal taste, of course. But I mean, I tried giving Amy Schumer's not Trainwreck, the other one she did with Bill Hader. I forgot the name, but it was fun. But it feels like it didn't have like what I was expecting from the movie. I didn't find it that funny, for example. And it felt like it was a bit, if I can use the word, pretentious. So it feels like the charisma, the magic, or the that you can also get from romantic comedies wasn't there. It wasn't present in the same way. Yeah. And maybe it's me getting older. I don't know, but it just felt like there's something missing. Yeah.
I think the last one I saw was that I consider rom-com, but it's more of for me, it's more of a feel-good movie. It's Licorice Pizza by Paul
Thomas Anderson.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah, right. I haven't seen that one yet. But I
can truly really recommend. But it's I would say it's a romantic comedy or drama, feel-good movie, but in like it's a period piece the way I see it. I think it's based in the 60s or 70s, something like that. So, and Paul Thomas Anderson does that really well, like how he's good at period pieces in my opinion. So in general, so I would recommend that as one of the last or latest movies I've seen within that genre. But I just thought about when you were talking about it, I could almost consider it like, because a lot of the films we talk about right now, the rom-coms, they're very like towards the male, us, like our way of looking at love. You know, it's usually the guy, the boy, falling in love with the girl. And I thought to myself, like chick flicks, they're rom-coms in a way. Like,
in a way,
like a lot of, not all of them, but a lot of them are actually rom-coms, just called chick flicks instead. The way I've noticed. But
it's also very interesting how that has shifted, basically. So like you said, we grew up, it was very much focused on the guys.
Our infatuation, our love, our love story, you know?
Exactly.
Like not so much the women's and the girls.
There wasn't much representation during the 80s and maybe beginning 90s, but that slowly shifted then. So it was from both perspectives even more. How it became more and more focused on both sides. And even more maybe on women as well. But I agree with you on that. So
I don't know. But I find it it's an interesting genre, and I find it interesting how it affects us more than we kind of like we watch it very like it's like a Sunday guilty pleasure for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just let's put it on. Stupid, and then we get all cozy, and it's like, I wish I could fall in love like that.
But what I found very fascinating, what you mentioned earlier, was that especially in my teens, I was very, very insecure.
Yeah.
And to some extent maybe still are, but definitely not at all as much as I was back then. But then having the idea, like you said in the romantic comedies, that okay, so this is how I'm supposed to attract a girl, or maybe approach a girl, for example.
Yeah,
and how and then maybe when you've got the courage to actually do it.
Yeah.
Especially talking during my teens, for
example.
example.
Those are
when it went the completely opposite on how I was thinking. Like in my head, this is the perfect scene in a romantic comedy. Like, okay, this is how it's going to unfold. But then, wow, it went completely downhill instead.
When reality hits and it doesn't. And I think with just a lot of people with similar kind of situations and moments in life and results. I like to blame rom-coms for that. No, no, but I mean, it's just, I find it fun and interesting. I love talking about films. You know, we do that normally in our daily life. It kind of just always creeps in. We make a reference of a movie, or we go like, hey, that scene, and that movie, and you know. And I feel like we don't talk about rom-coms that often. We talk about relationships and we talk about situations that are, but we don't actually talk about how do we get there? How did we actually get there? Like, what made you even think about doing that? That's stupid, Marcus. I'm sorry, but like that was a stupid idea. Why did you?
Guilty.
Yeah, you know, and I've had a lot of them, and I'm think to myself like, where did I get it from? I mean, it must have been from somewhere. It wasn't just.
But then we come to the fascinating part. We've talked about the fun stuff, for example, the encouraging stuff. But then if you take it to the other side, when it has been on the opposite, where it's had a bad influence of you, can you think of an example, for example, where if there's a certain romantic comedy or a scene in a movie where you feel like, oh, this is now looking at it with fresh eyes, thinking, okay, at the time I felt like, oh, this is a good thing, but now looking back at it, but what the hell was I thinking?
Yeah, but I think a lot of them. I think a lot of them are like that. I think a lot of them are like, you know, they taught men or boys to never give up. Never give up. You love somebody, you just keep going. Yeah. You know what? Sometimes you just need to give up. Sometimes you're not meant to be with that person and accept it. Oh. You know? And I think that's and I think that's the flaw of a lot of rom-coms from the 80s and up to the 90s and like now almost. Yeah. Is that the men never give up. They're persistent and they win by being persistent. Yeah. But you can't do that in real life always. It's not being with somebody and being in a relationship is not a job. Yeah. It's but could be, but it's not. But I'm spitting here. But no, but it's not a career. No. Okay, so needs to go both ways, and you need to, you know, you can't just keep doing what you're doing, hoping that the person will suddenly give up and say, okay, I guess I love you or I want to be with you. You know, no.
The end.
Yeah. Everyone's happy ever after.
But they lived happily ever after.
Yes. Yeah. So I think that's one of the flaws in a lot of rom-coms where we grew up that made that. Never give up. Keep fighting for her. Keep fighting for love. You know, you show her, and then that's, I would say that's one of the bad things.
No, I agree with you. I'm thinking about even older movies, like in the 40s, 50s. Also back then, how the man was supposed to be. But then, like you actually mentioned now, that just if you continue going on, like it eventually or at the end, you will have the woman.
Yeah. Right. And you can be a little bit like rough and a little bit like, shut up. No, but I mean, it's crazy when you think about it. You know? It's like,
the view of exactly about dating, the woman, the men, the parts they were playing, the parts of how it was supposed to be, and now looking how things have progressed and how they've changed, and it's very interesting.
It is. I'm curious to see what the future of Romcom holds.
Do you have any thoughts about that?
I don't know. Like, because now I feel a little bit like, since the apps came to our in our lives.
I have one thought actually, but
I will actually
how it has evolved, because this might be a bit not controversial, but maybe a bit tricky. But thinking that we've only experienced mostly, I would say, of a heterosexual perspective.
Oh yeah.
And I think it was actually two years ago, I think, a movie that came to my mind, or just by chance, that I found extremely funny. It was the movie Bros.
Bros.
If you've seen that one.
No.
I forget the main characters. He's the one that goes shouting on the street. He had a show that he did when he interviews people. Bill Eichner, I think his name.
Okay, yeah.
But he did a movie about him trying to meet. He's an open homosexual guy. He gets, I think he gets cheated on or something. That he needs to find love again, and then it's hilarious in that way, because it gives you a new perspective to be a homosexual man's life and dating other men, and then us having the perspective of how it's supposed to be as a heterosexual, and then seeing the both adventures, but also the aspects of what he has to go through, and this in that way how love is supposed to be in that way, especially between two men and dating. And so I find it so fun and so interesting at the same time. But it was a really fun, and that's how rom-coms have evolved now, especially that it can be both even gender, but also the sexuality.
More inclusive to actually it's not like specifically this is just for gay people, or this is just for heterosexual, but more of an open, free love kind of
that everyone can enjoy and that can have fun watching as well. So that would be my reflection about how it's evolved, or maybe how taking it to the next level.
Yeah, because I do feel like they have been kind of the same the last 10, 20 years almost. It feels like that, except for that one once in a while, this little odd one that comes out up the surface and does something different, because comedy and romance have, in different types of slapstick. You have the Will Ferrell movies as well, which are kind of also several of them rom-coms, and Owen Wilson, what is it, Wedding Crashers, and
hilarious movie as
super fun. I really enjoy them, but there are actually Forgetting Sarah Marshall. That's a
you might hate me now, but I haven't seen that one.
What? Wait, what?
Yeah.
How? No, that's not. No, I don't believe you. Haven't we watched? I'm sure I've shown it to you.
No.
Okay.
No, you haven't. This is almost this.
So wait, are you serious?
I got a flashback I got a flashback now when we were sitting down. I told you that I hadn't seen The Godfather.
Okay, but that's worse.
You almost had to say I've seen it now, both, even the third one, unfortunately. But the reaction was similar now when I said Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yeah, because I was like, this is I was sure. Yeah, okay, but I should.
But please tell.
No, it's just more like I would like to recommend it in the sense of it's, for me, one of the great breakup movies. Like if you've broken up with someone, watching Forgetting Sarah Marshall kind of makes you feel like, oh, you know what? I can do this. I can. Yeah. Come on. No, but no. So I don't know. I feel like rom-coms just kind of come and flow into, like, they're just there. They're on Netflix, they're on HBO, they're on this and that, and just
they don't maybe necessarily long-lasting.
Yeah, they don't make that big splash or boom anymore.
No,
the way it was before. I think it was. I think romance movies had a bigger impact before. I think we're not there, and we've kind of moved away from that a little bit. And I think also the way we see each other now these days, the way we date, it's not as romantic as it used to be.
No, it seems like that's
which is why.
No, this is why.
This is why get off the apps and start meeting people in real life.
Yeah.
I think that's what we should learn about rom-coms, the positive thing about it.
That's actually a really good point.
I don't know. That's what I want to like. I feel like with the apps, it's just killed a lot of the spontaneous kind of those moments. I'm not saying you should all go and be this weird, creepy guy. Please don't. No. Okay? Don't. Stop that. But just, maybe less phone app thing and more out there, get eye contact, get the courage to go up and talk to somebody. That maybe we should take that from rom-coms and learn something.
Yeah. But I think that's very interesting as well, because thinking of it, that's so much the new normal thing to do with dating now, especially, there most likely has been done some romantic comedies that deal with that as well, with the dating part, especially using apps. Yeah. But I'm just thinking that it's a different time. Yeah, in that way, you're right on spot in that way.
But I think we desensitized. I don't know how to pronounce it exactly, but our what do you call it? Our tentacles are.
They're not there anymore in the same way.
No, I think people have just, it's all muted now, and we just look at a screen with picture and text, and instead of like using our actual like way of feeling chemistry when you look at somebody and you see somebody and you talk to somebody. I think that has all, shifted and
the human interaction. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, and I think we need to. Well, I want us to go back to it because I think it's.
But no, you're absolutely right, because there are so many things that there is something about seeing a person in real life, and then not just texting and seeing pictures that you're supposed to make up your mind saying, oh, this is the one. For example, when you're going on a date, but there's exactly. But there's so many other aspects. Especially meeting the person in real life. All the pheromones, for example, if you feel attracted to the person, which you can't get through the online
smell, everything and expectations. I think we still create expectations, but we do it from a different platform now. Yeah. Before we would like look at a person, and you could expect things, but you didn't have all the information like. What do I like? What I don't, my turn-ons and turn-offs, and what do I work with? Do I have kids? Do I have this and that? You let things kind of happen naturally if there is actually a way to communicate with each other. I keep hitting that one.
No
it's
worries.
Gonna kill me.
No worries. No worries. Our sound guy will fix it. No worries. No worries.
But I want him though.
But then one aspect I'm also thinking about is that. If I put it correctly, that the goal in life, especially that some romantic comedies could portray, was that you're supposed to be happy when you're with another person. This is the ultimate way of being. Yes. And sometimes I feel like that can have a bad impact on people trying to find the one.
Not just that, trying to find happiness.
Find your happiness
within, like, to be happy. Yeah. It's like you're not allowed to be happy if you're not found the one.
Exactly.
That's kind of fucked up.
That's very fucked up. And sorry for swearing. But a movie I saw a couple of years ago, maybe not the best movies, but it had a very interesting angle. If you've seen the movie How to Be Single.
No, I have not seen that one.
I would say it's also like a romantic comedy, but you follow it's Dakota Johnson. It's a group of people in New York, I think. Younger females that are single, and how they deal about being single, because society and the way they're looked at is that they have to be with a partner, they have to be in a relationship. That's the main goal. But what I got from that movie was that it's okay to be single. It's actually okay to be by yourself and take the time you need. If you want to be with somebody, well, it will happen in one way or another. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, but most cases, yes. Yeah. But I think being comfortable, being that you don't have to be that way, it's the pressure of being with a person in a relationship, that sometimes you're actually better off being by yourself, being with the people you like, and being with people that give you energy and that you enjoy being with. And that was a very interesting perspective. And I would say, as a rom-com, how it evolved without not just being boy meets girl, girl falls in love with boy, blah, 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 and they end up boy, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know where I'm heading. And actually having a movie that actually takes it on another spin.
I love that. Actually, I had an idea like that myself once upon a time. Like, I've had some like rom-com ideas, and yeah, I like that because I need to watch it.
Yeah,
what's it called again?
How to Be Single.
How to Be Single. Yeah,
I really enjoyed it. I mean, of course, it's not a perfect movie.
No, but still, it's nice that it's a movie that takes the different kind of direction, saying, hey, you know what? We're tired of this. Like, you can be happy. You can find happiness within your life being by yourself as well, you know? People die, you know? So if you're with somebody you love and they go away, you have to try and be happy as well without them. So being single. But yeah, we're taught to find the one, right? Yeah. And I would say that's one of the flaws and the mistakes of
romantic.
But
yeah, that was the life goal, basically. It felt like it's something.
Well, it felt at some point in my life that was my goal as well. Yeah. Like I thought I couldn't be happy if I didn't find the one. Yeah. As a kid, and then it became like career and succeeding and you know, become a director and filmmaker and tell my stories.
Get all the ladies. No.
Yeah, that kind of is part of the package. No, but yeah, it's So I'm very curious. I mean, there's so many great. I realized I forgot to look at I still buy DVDs and Blu-rays.
Yes.
As you know.
So do I.
Not as much or as often anymore because space is always a
issue.
Yeah. But I forgot to look at which rom-coms I actually own. I have in my collection. I think I have more than I think.
Really?
Yeah. And there was one movie. I can't remember the name of it. I had this. It's one of those that nobody has, like, everyone's like, what? No, I don't know. It's kind of a New York-based rom-com where people are dating. It's, damn it. You know, I'll remember it for
we'll
next time.
We'll put it in the links afterwards.
But also, quickly, talking about New York and settings. Yeah. Rom-coms where the environment in the city is like the love story more than the actual characters.
Thinking about New York, I Love You?
No. God, no. Well, yeah, but that's more like intentional. Yeah. This is like the Woody Allen movies. Annie Hall, Manhattan, Notting Hill. Yeah. Amélie from Montmartre. Yeah. Those are like, it's quite interesting. Those are rom-coms or romantic movies where the setting and the scene, the place itself is
becomes a character of itself.
Yeah. It's stronger than the actual love story, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that's That's also, there's so many types. But yeah, I don't know. We can talk about this forever and get
go sideways.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you have anything you want to like add to the? No, it's more like I feel like I'm thinking here. What?
No, but just very quickly. What I talked about very, very quickly with the David Wayne, They Came Together movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it feels like what's so funny about that is that it assembles like all the traits of romantic comedies. I mean, everyone you can think about, and cramping them up into one movie, and that's the way that they are living is just very, very fictional, and it's very dreamlike. I find it so exciting, and both excited, but I find it so fun because I think that's the way we're perceiving life. Yeah. Like we talked about now, that's the way it was supposed to be. Yeah. And they're acting it out in a dream way. Yeah. And that I found so hilarious.
It's kind of like Barbie, right?
Yeah. That's a very good thing.
Yeah, it's a little bit like Barbie, I think.
It was still one of the best scenes in that movie when Margot Robbie says, "Do you ever think about death?" And then everybody goes silent.
Oh yeah, and the Barbie one, yeah.
Because it's, like you said, then suddenly the bubble bursts. Yeah, this is the perfect word. This is the way it's supposed to be. This is life, basically.
But now breaking the wall.
Yeah. So without saying that rom-coms are bad, that's not what I'm saying. But no. They can bring lots of joy and fun.
They do.
They do. So, but it can't go out without saying that it has had impact on, I would say, both of us
Yeah.
and many people as well.
And that's what, because I don't think about, like, I don't walk around and think to myself, oh, which rom-coms will I see tonight or this evening? Which ones are coming out? Which ones are on the, you know, when we were more like filmmakers, we would never really talk that much about rom-coms, but we would kind of act them out or live them in our real lives instead. So I found it kind of interesting. Why not talk about rom-coms? Because they're always there, and we just kind of ignore them in a way.
It's almost like a taboo, basically. It's like forbidden.
They're just not cool, you know. It's not cool to talk about rom-coms if you're a filmmaker or aspiring filmmaker. So you never spoke about them that much.
And for some time, it felt like it was only, like you said, chick flicks. It was only women that watched romantic comedies. It wasn't that masculine to watch.
That was also an issue and a problem. Unless it was like very, you know, male directed.
Exactly.
But yeah, there's definitely a period of there, I think, growing up where it was suddenly, it was like, oh, those are movies for girls. It's not cool. We can't watch them.
So we can watch them. We're guys. Yeah. We want action.
Woman, come here.
What's sound effect? You come home to me.
Now we got Arnold here.
They got Arnold. So, listen to me. You're coming home with me. We're gonna have a nice time. Let's go get a movie and go out for dinner.
I knew it. You would do it one day, one episode. You had to.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry. And on that note, any recommendations of a movie that you think the audience or viewers should watch that you can recommend?
The last movie I saw in the cinema was Dune Part 2.
Yeah.
Really, really loved that one. It kind of gave me that, oh man, going to the cinema again was really like, oh wow, I missed this.
That was a good movie experience.
Yeah, it just gave me that great kind of kick, like an adrenaline shot. Because I was kind of like, going to cinema, maybe it's not as fun anymore. And this one just woke me up, you know?
Yeah.
Really liked that one. And also saw the latest Studio Ghibli movie I can recommend, The Boy and the Heron.
Yeah.
Beautiful, love Ghibli movies and anime as well. I have a wide taste in cinema, films, and music. So I can recommend those two. Those are the last ones I saw, I believe. And watched a series on TV2 in Denmark, which every Dane is right now watching or have been watching, I guess. It's called The Black Swan in English. In Danish,
I've heard about that one. Yeah.
Svein. I can't speak Danish, so that's me. But yeah. Which is a documentary series about the underworld in Denmark.
Nice.
So those two those three I can recommend, I guess.
Good recommendations.
And then, we'll see what's coming up.
Nice. We're gonna basically have to wait now and see how things turn out in our lives, if it's still... Our lives are still romantic comedies.
Yeah, I don't know. Once you become a parent, you kind of like, you know what?
Is it that?
No. But I mean, we'll see. I mean, yeah, maybe that could be fun. Like, it would be fun to try and see if one could kind of shift the.
Then we have an idea.
What?
For romantic comedy,
which is.
Single dad, single
mom. Oh God, no, please. Oh, that sounds so bad. I'm sorry, but yeah. I mean,
they might be done already.
Oh God. Yeah, I bet it has been, but I mean, it'd be fun.
I would watch it.
Yeah,
I would find it interesting.
Somebody would. Single dads, single moms, I guess. But like, oh, that's so good.
Finally, we feel represented.
But, it would be fun, to come back and see, like, hey, what has changed? But we'll see. Let's just keep watching those rom-coms, and let's just keep remembering to fall in love and to be open, to be out there, to talk, to communicate, to look at people, eye contact.
Yeah,
eye contact. What happened to that? Where did it go? Like, just and show signs of affection. Yeah, in a non-digital way. Yeah. Let's. I'm trying. Maybe this is why I'm here at the Pockets, trying to tell people. Please,
you're an influencer. But this is the start of you being an influencer.
Yeah. No, but it's just I want us to wake up, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
In the romantic way.
Yeah, I think so too. Dejan, thank you so much for being a guest on the pod.
Thank you for having me.
I had so much fun. So hopefully you can be a guest maybe a second season.
I already thought the next one, if I ever come back, martial art movies.
I'm there.
Martial arts movies. We gotta do something with that as well.
Let's do that then.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. If you enjoyed listening to the podcast, please remember to click like and subscribe. It helps me with the channel and it also helps me create more content. Thank you.